Hey everybody, Jay Barino here, welcome back. Making our way through the Metroid Prime Trilogy, and we're at the end of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. We have a 100% item collection, a little over 5 hours. That's a really good time, I think, and we should be on track to complete the logbook. I hope. I don't think we've missed anything, so I think by finishing up the last area here, we should get it. Purple. I do quite like how the menu loading screen when you go into the game has Samus in whatever suit she is in at that moment in the game. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's go and confront Big Papa Emperor Ing to get back our half of the Great Temple energy. Whoa! Oh, still landed the wall jump. Get that stuttering out of your system now, Metroid Prime 2. We're about to fight a boss. This is the core of the final Dark Energy Collector. The last collection of planetary energy lies within the core. When you place it within the energy transfer module for return to Ether, this world will become heavily unstable. Well, first thing we're going to do is read about it. Emperor Ing Body, ruler of the Ing Horde. Target is drawing energy from the unstable energy controller. Eliminating target's connection to the energy may be an effective strategy. Bioscans indicate that this is the eldest, strongest Ing in the Horde, the Alpha and the Omega. It has absorbed enormous amounts of phase and energy into its body, mutating itself in the process. Apparently, this power is not enough for the creature, as it is now siphoning energy from the final energy controller. Okay, let's get the head. There are 5 parts to this boss. Emperor Ing Head, ruler of the Ing Horde. Target will form numerous tentacles to defend itself. Eliminate them to weaken its defenses. Like its brethren, the Emperor Ing is a metamorph. It has molded itself around the precious energy controller and will defend it to the death, using its own body as a shield and a weapon. Destroy the tentacles it generates to weaken the creature and its defenses. So, light beam would probably be pretty good against these tentacles. I personally have found that... missiles are good because they do splash damage and they home, and these tentacles are just all over the place. Just all over the place. So it's hard to hit them with normal shots. I always struggle to avoid that. You could probably Morph Ball boost out of the way. I tend to just absorb damage on this boss. So now its eye is exposed. Go ahead and scan it. We got our first hit in. I like to use super missiles. Emperor Ing Eye. Unstable Ing biomass. Central eye is protected by a potent barrier shield. Shield does not provide complete coverage, however. The Emperor Ing has exposed its main eye, from which it can fire a powerful energy beam. It is protected by a barrier shield, although not completely. The eye can be locked onto, but only direct shots will get past the shield. Yeah, this is where I try to land super missiles. If you get hit with the laser, then it stuns you. Like that, and it stops you from firing a super missile. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and collect these missiles. And we have to just keep killing the tentacles to re-expose the eye. And that's the long and short of it. Oh, that was like as fast as I could have gotten into Morph Ball mode and boost away, so maybe we just need to jump away or just run directly away. I'm not sure. Maybe laying Morph Ball bombs when it's swinging its tentacles around on the ground like that might be able to do some damage. I'm not sure. Yeah, see, I just ran horizontally and it worked, so we can avoid that from now on. Seeing that splash damage is doing good work against the tentacles. Oh, I was in the process of shooting the super missile. So much of the damage we take on this fight is going to be simply from the phase and on the outskirts of the room. And now he's going around twice. You think you can fake me out? Picking a direction and I'm running. Okay, we got hit there. I think that's a cool attack. He like goes through the other dimension and then shoots his tentacles out at you. Next phase. Emperor Ing Chrysalis, regenerating Ing ruler. Target's regen shell is magnetically charged. 11 weak points have been detected. Target them with concussive blast to shatter the regen shell. The heavily damaged Emperor Ing has entered a regenerative state inside a durable healing shell. Tactical scans have detected 11 weak points on the magnetically charged shell. Spider-ball travel is possible on the shell surface. Damage the weak spots with explosives to crack the shell and expose the enemy within. So we get a little more fall section. And then there's these inglets that'll roll around and they'll knock us off quite a bit. It's kind of hard to avoid them, honestly. So you want to lure the tentacles out. I like to use power bombs. It'll instant kill them, usually on the ones that are close together. This phase is just sort of frantic, to be honest. I find it a little wacky. It's easy to take a lot of damage on this phase if you're not careful. So you can use normal bombs like that. You see that it's not enough to quite kill the tentacles. You have to do it in 2. I can't see where anything is. It's actually quite difficult simply because I can't see where I'm going. The amount of damage you take is relatively minimal. It's got that same noise as the phase in radiation, so you think you're taking a ton, but it's not that much. There it is. Notice how there's still a couple % left for creatures. Don't worry. Mutated Emperor Ing, altered ruler of the Ing Horde. Further phase and mutation of the Emperor Ing has occurred. The creature seems to only take damage when its heart is light or dark. Find a way to change the heart to one of these colors. Further exposure to Phazon has mutated the Emperor Ing. The creature's energized heart is unstable. Beams of opposite polarity can damage the heart. Overloading the heart with energy may cause it to exceed critical mass. So now that its heart is red, we have to just damage it with really any damage type. And now it's purple, so we could do damage with light. I'm going to go ahead and try the Annihilator Beam, and in fact, let's try the Sonic Boom. And that did some real good damage to it. Also, it looks cool. Now it's back to red, so we just have to do any damage to it if possible. This thing's just very squirrely. It's just hard to hit in general. The Annihilator Beam is nice simply because it homes automatically. So that's why I'm going to be using that mostly. I'm in the Phazon. Oh my gosh, just... Super Missile will take it instantly from red to a specific color. Yeah, Sonic Boom is pretty good. Here he comes. He's going to charge us. Sonic Boom is hard to land the timing, but if you get it, it's very, very good. We're not even letting him stay in the red phase very much at all. That's, especially when he charges right at you, it's particularly challenging to avoid. So at certain health percentages, he automatically goes back to red, but again, if we Super Missile time correctly, it's just going to be... This is going pretty well, and our ammo supply is looking okay too. Planetary condition critical. Escape at once. 8 minutes. Now's not the time, keyboard. Now is not the time, keyboard. There we go. It's caught up. She's back. Dark Samus, supercharged with Phazon energy. Target's Phazon energy weaponry and defense systems are at full power. Phazon exposure has rendered Dark Samus invisible to your Dark Visor. Scans indicate that Dark Samus has absorbed tremendous levels of Phazon into her body. Too much, perhaps. She can vent Phazon energy in the form of destructive blasts and protective shields. Doing so will help her maintain stability. Exposure to Phazon has rendered her invisible to the Dark Visor. These new abilities combined with her already formidable arsenal places Dark Samus at the highest threat level. We're gonna go Dark Beam again. She's gonna... Now we have to follow her with the Echo Visor. Actually, never mind. There's the Echo Visor. We could try to hit her with the Dark Burst, but now's not the time to be fancy. So now she's got another phase. Oh, not yet. Still not yet. Okay, now here we go. Let's see that 100%, baby. Dark Samus 4. Unstable Phazon energy form. Target can generate shield immune to all forms of attack except Phazon energy. Draw in expelled Phazon for use as a weapon. Dark Samus has temporarily become a being of pure yet unstable Phazon energy. She can generate a shield that is invulnerable to all attacks, save one. Blasts of Phazon energy itself. Use your charge beam to collect energy that she expels, then fire it back at her. Direct hits will overload and disrupt her essence. 100% of all logbook scans downloaded. That's what your boy likes to see. So here's what we have to do. We're going to stay locked on. She's going to shoot some beams at us. We dodge those. When she shoots these, we collect them and we launch them back. Okay, go back to the Dark Beam. If you do enough damage to her right when she lands, she'll immediately go back into Phase 4. So she'll rotate between Phase 3 and 4. But at this point, the majority of the damage that we're going to do in order to beat her is going to come from the Phazon blasts. So you don't really have to do that much damage to force her back. One charge Dark Beam just sends her right back in there. This is a little anxiety-inducing simply because it's timed. If you keep your cool and you realize anytime you reflect the Phazon back at her, it's a massive amount of damage. Takes a lot off of her health bar. Ah, shit. Gonna run out of dark beam energy here soon. held on to it a little too long. Here we go, boys. So that's Metroid Prime 2. Probably my favorite in the series. Like, I really appreciate Prime 1 for what it did originally, which is just, you know, massive strides in three-dimensional world building and space in a game. I think 2 just took it and made it better in many ways, and I can see how it wasn't initially well received, but I kind of think that it improved on almost everything that the first game had to offer. It had all of the interconnectedness that the first game had. I think maybe the zones in Metroid Prime 1 felt like they were a little more interconnected, simply because there were more elevators to and from these areas, but like I look at the zone, like the Temple Ground zone, and the way that it's built to be separate at the beginning, but then eventually be unlocked later, I think was really, really interesting. And to the point where I didn't really fully understand it when I used to play this game. But now I see how it was done, and I actually think it's great. Though I guess if someone who's new coming in doesn't see and understand how it works, then maybe it's a little too convoluted. I don't know, but I can see it. Again, the resource scarcity, specifically with your light and dark beam. I can see maybe stresses some folks out. Similar to how just being in dark ether for the majority of the game just constantly drains your HP. And I think I've gotten to the point in this game where, except for that first trip to dark ether, like in Dark Aegon, where your health is draining very quickly and you don't have a lot of energy tanks, but like once you get the dark suit, I basically just stop caring about the health drain on dark ether. Like it matters so little that I just stop caring about it. But I remember back like Quadraxis when I was younger and I was playing this game, like that fight stressed me out because he does so much damage with all his attacks and there's no safe zone, so you're constantly losing HP. So like from the start you get a general sense that the fight itself is timed. But if you actually could see a timer based on how slowly, like if you had 7 or 8 energy tanks and it's ticking down, that's a really long timer, right? That'd be like 20 minutes of time before 8 energy tanks or more worth of energy would be gone. So it'd be actually significantly longer than that when I think about it, but still, I don't know. I came to really appreciate that, and I really like how the world design intertwines the light and the dark worlds. And it's one of those where I feel like it's very rewarding to explore, but maybe a little too convoluted the first time. I feel like maybe the first time you go through, you won't see how the worlds are interconnecting, but you just kind of like get places and think, oh, okay, well I made it to the temple. Oh, okay, I made it to the next save station. Oh, here's a portal. I'll just go through it until I find the next portal, and you just sort of stumble your way through. But I feel like this game is a little more convoluted map-wise with the light and the dark worlds and the way the temple grounds are laid out than Prime 1 was. But I find it way, way, way more satisfying once you do understand how the maps all intertwine. I do really like Prime 1 for the same reasons, but I think 2 improved upon it, just like I think 2 improved on the combat with the countering system with the light and the dark beam. Metroid Prime 3 is drastically different. It's drastic maybe is a strong word, but it is very different than the first 2. It certainly has less of an isolating feel to it, which I think is kind of core to the first 2. In fact, I think it's core to the series. But Prime 3 and then eventually Other M, which was the next entry in the Prime series, I believe. They really take an interesting turn with the way that the environments are built in the games and the way the storytelling is done. But in any case, Prime 3 is pretty fun, regardless. So I think it's fun. I think it has the best combat. So I'm really looking forward to that. 5 hours, 18 minutes is super solid. Now, obviously, if you were to go back and add up all the time of all the videos I made here, it's more than 5 hours, 18 minutes. But I believe, as I mentioned at the end of Prime 1, this only counts active time. So, like, any time that we were in the logbook, which was, any time that the game freezes and pauses while the logbook is showing you text, or you go into the logbook, that doesn't actually count towards our total time. So, yeah, 5 hours, 18 minutes is good for Prime 1, let alone Prime 2. We got 100% item collection and logbook collection. Solid stuff. Shocking. I do kind of like the idea, oh, it happened again, it zapped my brain. It's going to do it at the end of each game, I guess. I quite like how Dark Samus basically was her own undoing. She just kept absorbing more and more Phazon, and eventually just like overloaded herself with it to the point where she needed to expel it, and then we just blast it back at her, and that's what killed her. And also in the end cinematic, you can see that they kept the little eye on her hand, which is what you see in that end cutscene of Prime 1. Awesome. All right, well, thanks everyone for joining me for this series. Again, Prime 1 and 2, some of my favorite games of all time, so I'm really excited to move on to Prime 3 and finish this up. Prime 3, I feel like, is a relatively short and concise experience, if you can path through it properly. I say short and concise, though it did take me the longest recently when I played it on stream, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe it will end up taking me quite some time. But in any case, I'm looking forward to it and to finish up this series for you. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.